back, everybody. I'm Jay. He's Maddie. This is the Yankee and the Brit. It's free agency frenzy. So,
You use
Maddie,
that every second.
so they keep calling it blockbuster. There was nothing blockbuster about the trade except for the person. But Jalen Ramsey gets traded for a third round pick.
It was on the roast the other day when they said, you do nothing else white apart from dance. Your dance move is the only way somebody would know that you're white, right?
Yeah, they tell me that all the time. I tell them I can't fucking dance, but I can still ice skate better than all of you.
That makes it sound like figure skating in that context. But yeah, Jalen
I grew
Ramsey
up
for
playing hockey since I was 3. So, like, that's where I'm always like, I can skate better than you. I don't have to dance.
So Jalen Ramsey for a third round pick is a really good pickup for the Miami. Kind of a no-brainer, like when it comes out to them. They're in a win now situation if Tua can stay healthy. I think they've got enough, like with the way that offense operates, then Tua is enough of a quarterback in there if he can stay healthy. And you've put together Ramsey, Howard, and Holland in the secondary, which is a pretty lethal. It's just pretty lethal over the top, really. You don't really want to be throwing against that too often. And they've got a really nice defensive line with a lot of young pieces. The only issue is the Dolphins' cap situation is going to be horrible in 2024. And I know a lot of people have been coming out and comparing this to what the Rams did and why the Rams are having to pay the piper now and what the Rams did. It's not quite that because it only becomes that if you want to keep Tua. So
I'm a firm believer this is Howard's last year in Miami. So that's going to help their cap next year. Also, Jalen Ramsey's hit next year isn't going to be as bad as people think because he wants a new deal. You don't trade for him unless you're going to give him a new deal.
Yeah.
And you can structure that to where he gets the money he wants and you can, push the money back down. Kind of like, I think this was fucking stupid, but I get why they did it. The Browns clear up $35 million by restructuring Deshaun Watson, who now next year and the following years has a $64 million cap hit.
That's just fucking ridiculous. But you clear
35.
You're stuck with him. With Deshaun Watson, you're stuck with Deshaun Watson anyway. So you may as well get as much out of the way as you can while you find out if he can play. And then if he can't play, it's less of a hit on the back end, I guess, is what they're looking at.
They're adding void years now too, so they're going to be paying Deshaun Watson for 8 years. It looks like.
So if he can't play, they might be paying him for if he doesn't play.
Technically, he'll get his money now, but the cap charges they'll be paying him for. You know what I mean? And it's these void years. Everybody thought they were geniuses, but I think they're going to come back to bite a lot of teams in the ass. Like I get it if you do it with one guy and you free up some space, and you're like, okay, we'll eat a dead cap hit for $3 million for 2 or 3 years each year. What people fail to realize, though, is the second that player is no longer on your team, all those void years become due at once.
Yeah, definitely. It's like
just a perfect example. Delvin Tomlinson extended his free agency for the Vikings so he could work out a new deal. If he walks, 7.5 million already on there in dead cap. If they re-sign him, that $7.5 million disappears.
Yeah, which is like it is good business if you only do it with a few players. It's also pretty good business if you're doing it. If that player is a quarterback where they're getting such ridiculous money anyway.
And if you plan on having them in another contract.
Yeah, and also you're factoring in the fact that the cap goes up like all the time. So the cap goes up year on year, so it becomes less and less of a cap hit.
I just had it up over the cap, projects it to go up $32 million next year.
Yeah, exactly. That's a whole quarterback. That's a whole good quarterback up.
That's Jimmy G for the $22 million.
That's Jimmy G. That's Jimmy G right there. Yeah, Jalen Ramsey, great pick for the Miami Dolphins. A guy that the Rams like wanted to get off their books, to be perfectly honest. I could see the Rams wanting to. They came out and said the pillars of this organization are Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp.
Who they're trying to trade quietly.
Yeah. I thought that when I saw Cooper Cup, when he said it, I was like, I swear I've seen plenty of trade rumors for Cooper Cup.
Well, no, they're
And
trying to
Aaron
trade
Donald.
Stafford quietly.
Yeah, they're trying to trade Stafford, and Cooper Cup is getting shopped apparently as well, is what I've seen, which would be fucking insane. Like, there's blowing up your team. The issue is the Rams have enough good pieces that if they blow it up but manage to hold on to those three good pieces, for example, so Stafford, Cup, and Aaron Donald, if they hold on to those three pieces, like the rebuild shouldn't take too long. Really, all the Rams need to work out is an offensive line, which is the only issue is with that. They need to work out every single position on the offensive
Well,
line.
and the fact that it seems like the Broncos are fucking signing every lineman out there right now.
Yeah, they're fucked. The Rams aren't in any of that conversation anyway. They're too late and already in cap hell. Third round draft pick gets you a guard, possibly. So maybe that's what they're looking at.
Well, and I'm see, not this isn't like end all and be all, but for a generic, okay, so if I'm talking to somebody who doesn't watch the draft and they're like, give me a generic way of how you look at my team and how they should draft. If you're in the top 5, you were looking for somebody who potentially could wear a gold jacket one day or a franchise quarterback. Okay. But anything through round 3, you're looking for a contributor and a contributor sooner than later.
Yeah, if you get a starter in round 3, if a guy is starting for you by the end of his first year, start of his second year in round 3, you've made a really good draft pick there.
And I've heard a lot of talent evaluators say this about later rounds. You're looking for the depth, but you're also looking for guys who can play special teams. Guys who excel on special teams usually can contribute to their position because they show they'll put in the work. They show they can understand the system. They show that they can do it. So you're looking for special teams guys who can contribute as depth. And if you hit a starter in the 4th, 5th, 6th round, great. But that's how I explain to people how they should look at the draft. In the beginning, first 5 picks, you're looking for a guy who potentially could wear a gold jacket. But in the first, second, and third round, you want guys who can contribute. And in the first and second round, we want guys who can start that same year at some point.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like in this draft, especially those top 10 picks fall off really quickly. There isn't a big difference between pick 11 to pick 32. And then there's not a big difference from pick 32 to pick 64, for example.
I said this to you the other day, and Chris Sims and now Todd McShay had both said after the first 15, 20 picks, they got them pretty much graded the same through the second round.
Yeah. I've agreed with I agree with that. Having
deep,
started my draft evaluation very late.
The draft is deep, but it's not front heavy.
Yeah. So if you're a team, for instance, like the 49ers who are looking for depth and have all your stars in place, or the Cowboys or the Vikings and have all your stars in place, then this is a good draft for you. You're excited by this draft. Like if I'm the Cowboys, I'm going into this draft quite excited. If you're a team that is starless and like if you just don't have those going and you just need like a Micah Parsons type player, they're not in this draft. They're not in it. Outside of
not linebacker. I'm telling you, I think I told you last night. I think there's 5 blue chip players in this draft, and I'm only calling the 2 quarterbacks blue chip because they're going to go 1 and 2.
They're only blue chip because they're quarterbacks, right? But then in the top 5 picks, they'll be.
If Bryce Young is 6'1", he's blue chip as fuck.
Yeah,
I don't have a problem with his height, but I'm saying a lot of teams are going to say, do I want to risk it on a 5'10" quarterback? That's why I think the Texans are actually in the best spot they could ever be in, because reports are they love Bryce Young, and the reports are the Panthers love CJ Stroud.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean I think you could be in a position where if you get either Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, you'd be really happy. Like you can really cheer yourself up on that.
Yes.
So should we just talk elephant in the room and just talk the Bears and Panthers trade?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
before we get into the actual trade,
Mhm.
I was thinking about this last night. And if I'm the Texans and I like both guys, I'm actually better off with the Panthers in front of me because I don't got to
Yeah.
make the decision.
Yeah. You
Less
haven't
pressure.
fucked up
Now
that
there's more.
decision.
Now, whoever the Panthers take, there's more pressure not only because they're the first overall pick, but you traded up for him.
Yeah. Also, Buddy, like the Texans can blame if CJ Stroud if CJ Stroud goes second and isn't very good in Houston, and Bryce Young goes first and he's fucking amazing, right? Then they can say, "Oh well, Buddy Love fucked us, and
Oh,
we
Lovey
that's
Smith.
the
Yeah.
yeah, Lovey Smith. Sorry, yeah, that's the pick that we would have made. That's the pick that we would have made, but we got stuck with CJ Stroud. Oh no, there's nothing we could do. When really they love CJ Stroud. Like if you're happy with both, then you're happy
And
sitting in two.
I forget his name, but he's 35. He's been with some years with the 49ers. He was their offensive assistant who went with D'Amico Ryans as the offensive
Oh,
coordinator.
he
But
he's PFF.
he's gonna run a Shanahan type system. So
Yeah.
whichever quarterback comes in, it's going to be very quarterback friendly.
Uh, what's his name? He's uh
I forget, but
Tim Kelly.
Bowell, huh?
Oh, Bobby Slowick.
Slowick, that's it. Yeah,
Bobby Slowick. Yeah, he's former PFF.
yeah, and he's actually a former defensive guy originally, and then trained under Shanahan as an offensive guy.
Mm.
So I think that he's going to bring Shanahan type system. They all put their own little twists on it, but it's very quarterback friendly. So whoever goes to the Texans, I know last year I would have said, "Oh, you're done." If you go to the Texans, you're done. But I like their coaching staff. I like the schemes they're picking up. I think a young quarterback can thrive in Houston moving forward.
Yeah, I mean they need some weapons. They desperately need some weapons. They have
A great running back,
yeah.
Pierce.
Yeah, they have an amazing running back.
And how upset is Cook with D'Amico Ryans now? Is Cook willing to stay with the
Mhm.
Texans, or is he going to force his way out? Now, if Cook's there, you got your number one receiver. So for a young guy, I mean, he's not coming into the worst. And this draft is super deep at tight end.
Yeah, and I mean you also have that the fact that the Texans offensive line is actually okay. Like the Texans offensive line isn't a total rebuild. There's a reason that Dameon Pierce looks so good. Like you need a good offensive line to look like a good running back. Um, you look so good at running back when you're a really, really talented running back, but you need that offensive line to just maintain any form of level. So the Texans offensive line is decent. D'Amico Ryans, although not a lot of talent on the defensive side of the ball, but D'Amico Ryan should get that sorted out. I do think Brandon Cook will probably go. Brandon Cook seems to go every year for a first overall pick. So if they manage to recruit a first or a second overall pick there, then they've got a
I
young
think
wide receiver talent to go with Bryce Young there.
I think those days are over because he's in his
Yeah,
30s.
definitely.
But yes,
Yeah,
so
whatever you get for Cook. If Cook leaves, whatever you get for him, you spend it on whatever the best weapon available is for your rookie quarterback. I think.
and the weird thing is the receivers are decent, but they're not deep and top heavy
Yeah.
either this year. They're hard to evaluate. So maybe you stick with a proven guy, but back to the elephant in the room, how the
Yeah.
Bears got hosed on trade because, they're going to get at least 3 first round picks.
Yeah.
They're going to get multiple seconds and thirds. Wait, so they swap first, fall back to 9. They get a second this year, a first next year, and then a second in 2025. Yeah, fucking killing it my ass. They got hosed. And they should have waited up until the draft. They might have been able to get more. And it just proves again why I'm so happy the Vikings didn't hire Poles.
Yeah, I totally agree. They looking at this again in the cold light of day, they get hosed in terms of draft capital.
Yes.
From the draft capital point of view, they get hosed. I agree with you. If they wanted it in draft capital, then they should have waited till they should have waited until the draft. You're 100% right. The one thing that they couldn't be sure was how Was DJ Moore on the block for trading for how many teams? How many teams had DJ Moore on the block?
And this is why
trading?
he won't re-sign with you. I'm just
How
saying.
many?
And so this kid can't throw when he's got Mooney, Chase, Kmet. But you think DJ Moore, who had a half a good season, is the answer to Justin Jefferson? No, DJ Moore just falls like Allen Robinson. Oh, Fields couldn't get him the fucking ball, so he looked like trash.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Fields could throw to Cole Kmet. I think that's taking it a little bit too far.
No, I'm saying like he has these
just Cole
records.
Kmet though.
He has these stats with the receiving core he had last year in Chase, Mooney, and Kmet. And you think that, not you, but like people think that he's going to come in and DJ Moore is going to be the fucking answer? Like,
I come from a totally
up a first round pick for DJ Moore. No team.
Yeah, I come from a totally different standpoint on that, where it's like I think Justin Fields has shown enough arm talent. I know he's not got the stats, and his accuracy is shit. Like his accuracy is shocking. It's
you see that he's 35th in police, like 33rd. Like there's not even that many starting quarterbacks. But okay,
it's more that like he has the deep ball arm talent. Chase Claypool was only there for the second half of the season for a lot of that, and he was injured there. However, getting injured doesn't help his cause either. But you have he also rushed for 1,142 yards or something like that. And like if he played that last game of the season, he probably would have been the highest rushing total of all ever in a single season. But where does that come in terms of wins? I mean, the Bears blew it up last year. Like the Bears blew that team up last year and had some games where they look respectable because of Justin Fields.
And they're already overpaying players and have zero depth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the other issue is with the Bears is everybody is saying like, oh, they have all this cap space, or they have all this cap space. But as you so rightly put out, because all the players and all the agents know you have all this cap space, and they know you only got 4 wins last season, they're not gonna take.
And they want you to move to a cold. They want you to move to a cold city that has the most violence. Not that you would live in that area,
yeah,
but
like Chicago, their area,
and it's the third largest media market, so the media is at you all the time.
Yeah, the stadium's falling down, and they're moving stadium soon, so there's no reason for them to improve their facilities
now or something. Though,
there's no reason for them to improve their facilities at all. Right, like the facilities are just going to get worse and worse and worse because all of it's going into the thing that's happening 8 years down the road.
I have heard players, and when they walk into U.S. Bank Stadium, Jerry World, SoFi, that are blown the fuck away by these facilities, and it helps them sign. What do you think? We saw that report card from the NFLPA.
I'm getting out now.
Like Arizona, is awful. Chicago, not good facilities. That hurts free agency.
Yeah, where does Chicago end up on that list?
The middle of the pack. I don't think they got too beat up, and
which is pretty impressive.
But the Ravens love their training staff.
Yeah. I mean, it's in my eyes, it's a good trade. Like because the way that you get it is if he can't perform. So this is now his wide receiving core, and his wide receiving core now looks pretty solid, especially with Cole Kmet, who is his trustworthy weapon at tight end. You have DJ Moore, Chase Claypool, Darnell Mooney. Like that's a pretty nice 3 wide receiver. Like nothing to write home about, nothing too crazy. But most teams, like if you gave middle of the road quarterbacks that, they'd get good passing yards. Now Justin Fields has the leg and running capability and the big play capability, which means those guys should be spending a lot of time one-on-one. Like those guys should be spending a lot of time not in double coverage. So if he can improve his accuracy, if he can get the scheme going, if he can get some fucking separation, then if the wide receivers are able to get some separation and scheme open, he should be throwing them open as well.
I wish I could show video on here because I watched some Bear highlights, and most of the catches that were made were by the receivers doing something amazing because of a fucking off throw. Mooney's got to make one-hand catches. Mooney's on the sideline falling.
Right. I know exactly which two highlights you're talking about, and he misreads the flight of the ball.
But okay.
Yeah. No. But there's two touchdown throws where Mooney misreads the flight of the ball in both, like, and starts trying to turn around and do one-handed catches, and that's how he ends up having to do those on two touchdown throws. But then I watched one to Chase Claypool.
There's one at like the 11-yard line that Mooney catches with the tip of his fingers like this when there is jumping in the air, going out of bounds when there is no fucking defender even on him.
Yeah, Justin Fields got Chase Claypool nearly fucking killed on the sideline from like throwing high. He throws so high, like he throws so much high on those short and medium routes. The throws is so high. It's
and I want to reiterate this. I hope the best for Justin Fields. I never pray for a player to suck. Well, I'll pray for you to suck in a certain game, but not overall in your career, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're playing the Vikings in the playoffs, I'm like, well, I hope you suck today. But I just don't think they didn't. And this is going to go all the way back to the last year's hirings. I don't think you got the right coach.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like for me, I'm still
give him Sean Payton, and this is a different conversation.
So the reason that I'm so on the Justin Fields bandwagon, but not in the same way as the other people who are on the Justin Fields bandwagon who say like, oh, he's top 5 QB. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, no, he's not. Like, Justin Fields, for me, isn't making the most of his talent. Exactly. I totally, like, you can't disagree with that. But Justin Fields isn't making the most of his talent that he clearly has. And he's not in a situation that allows him to make the most out of the talent that he clearly has also.
My problem is, and I blame this more on coaches than him, I haven't seen much change in his fucking footwork and mechanics.
Yeah. Whereas now, you have.
Why weren't you at Josh McCown as your quarterback coach a year ago or somebody like that?
Yeah. Now, you have the opportunity to make a team around him, like make a semi-decent team this year and actually get an evaluation in. And what I like about this trade is their draft capital for this year, their draft returns is not great. They already have great draft capital this year. But their draft capital for next year, now they have 2 first-round picks next year and 2 second-round picks to play with if you do the evaluation properly. And Justin Fields is.
Let's not forget they don't have their second-round pick this year anymore.
Oh, yes.
At 32 because they gave it up for Claypool. Now they do have the second-round pick from the Panthers, but that's what, 61?
Yeah.
So now you're at the ass end of the. Mm-hmm. The Panthers didn't even give you the top second-round pick. They gave you their ass end second-round pick.
Yeah, that Claypool move is looking stupider and stupider as you go through that. That made no sense.
I would have loved Claypool on the Vikings. Do you know how good Claypool would have been on the Cowboys?
Yeah, definitely. But it's you sit there and like you've blown everything else up apart from you've given up a first-round pick for a wide receiver.
The process is
second-round pick. Yeah, it makes no sense. Like, you can't blow everything up and then bring it back. Like, you can't blow everything up and then give one good asset up.
That's my argument is why do you trash the whole team and then trade for a receiver that I'm not saying he could – like, he's not your star number 1 receiver. He is a great number 2 receiver.
Yeah.
But, like, you gave up what now technically player-wise is a first-round pick because it's 32 because of the Dolphins. It would have been 33, but because of the Dolphins, now it's 32. Granted, you don't get the 50-year option, but you get the 32nd best player in the draft now for Claypool, when I would argue you could have got a receiver with that pick that's as equal to or better with a better contract. I think the wrong team traded for Claypool is what I think.
Mm-hmm.
If Andy Reid would have traded for Claypool would have had fucking 700 yards this year.
Yeah, it's not a player that Justin Fields needed either. Like, it's not the right Justin
right
Fields
position, wrong player. I mean, can we say that maybe for the Bears? Right position, wrong player.
Yeah, definitely. There's like I would have preferred if they gave it up for, say, Tony, like somebody like that, where it's like Tony is a big after the catch player. You can do different things with Tony. You can get Tony on some short routes open.
Why do you let Allen Robinson walk just to turn around and get a guy who's
Chase
Allen
Claypool.
Robinson?
Yeah, it makes no sense. It just made no sense to take it off because now you're just looking at your draft capital and you're like, for fuck's sake, like we could have had.
I'm
we
a
could have
firm
had that to play
believer.
with as well.
I'm a firm believer now. The more I think about it, the reason they traded the number 1 pick and not Fields is nobody would have gave you a first for Fields.
Yeah,
people are balking at 2 firsts for Lamar. Lamar is way more proven of a great quarterback than
Lamar Jackson is worth 2 first-round picks. Lamar Jackson is like
if it wasn't that
picks,
contract,
2 seconds. Like
if it wasn't the fully guaranteed contract, there'd be 15 fucking teams at Lamar's house today going, Lamar, let's talk.
It's because he's a problem. Like that's what they don't like. They don't like that about him either. Like he's
His
a
teammates
problem.
love him, and he's never been in trouble off the field. I've never seen him scream at a coach or anything like that.
No.
But he's a problem. He's only a problem because he wants more money than you guys are willing to give him. And it's not the money, it's the guaranteed money. But if I'm Lamar, it absolutely makes sense. And you should hate Jimmy Haslam for giving Deshaun Watson that guaranteed contract, because I don't think Joe Burrow, I don't think any of those guys coming up for a contract should settle for a penny less than what Deshaun Watson got.
Yeah. And do you know what? Like, look, you look at the problem with Lamar, and this will go into a different podcast, so we don't have to talk about this too much. But do you think that the problem with Lamar is, yes, he's asking for more money, but it is also he's black, plays the game differently to how it's ever been played, like at the quarterback position. It's not been played like that since Michael Vick, and he does it even more so. And he speaks in a way that is not always the most audible to.
Yeah, he's got a very southern drag to his voice. I think maybe I'm naive because I'm white. This might be the whitest statement ever. I don't think being black is the issue. I think his style of play might be. And I do think that he gets a bad rap as a communicator, but I don't know if that's true because players seem to love him. And so is he a bad communicator with coaches, or is he just so fed up with Baltimore because every good quarterback's getting paid after year 3? Lamar's going into year 6 without a contract.
Lamar's going into year 6 with an MVP and has never had a top 10 wide receiver. And
I've seen crazy stats where he's got better win percentage than fucking every other quarterback that's on that list over like the last 5 years. And he's won
70% of the games that he started.
Yeah, it's crazy. And if the Vikings had bear type cap room with Kirk Cousins being on his last year, and it doesn't look like they're going to extend him, maybe it happens. I always said if it's going to happen, it's going to happen between today and Wednesday, because that's always when it happens. Every year with him is that tampering window. But if they decide not to, well, then fucking bring in Lamar, and Kurt will agree to a trade because there's no trade clause, because he ain't going to want to be a backup if you had the money. We don't have the money, so it's a non-starter.
Yeah, definitely. It's the same in Dallas where it's
Skip Bayless. I seen the other day, and I don't watch him much, but I seen him the other day because the stupid headline got me on YouTube. I don't remember what it was. So I hit that. It was like a 15-minute clip, and I probably watched 11 minutes of it, which is a lot for me with Skip and Shannon. Skip was beating the table for fucking Lamar. Like Dak, Skip from last year went from Dak is the savior to fuck Dak, get rid of him.
Yeah, that's Skip Bayless though, isn't it? That's him straight away. He doesn't believe anything he says. But
I'm starting to wonder, does he not believe it? Because Stephen A. pounds the table that he believes the crazy shit that he says. Maybe Skip really just believes he's such an outside thinker that nobody's as smart as him. And maybe he does believe it, but it's still ridiculous either way.
Maybe he believes it, but then increases it up to hyperbole, like as it goes, right? Like he believes it, but over exaggerates absolutely everything, right?
As bad as I bash Dak, if he was on the market right now, there'd be fucking 9 teams calling Dak.
Dak Prescott is a really great QB. Like I love that Dak Prescott's our QB. Like I love him most of the time. Not when he's thrown 15 picks in a season is the one.
Dak's biggest downfall is how the media crowned him after 4 games.
Yeah, definitely. And the blemish on Dak is the the blemish on Dak is the 15 turnovers last season. Like that's the one blot there for me in
Dude,
his stat line in his careers. Like the
there
rest,
must
I'm
be-
like, yeah, that's about right.
there's some hatred for fourth round quarterbacks because Dak and Kirk get some of the worst hate, but yet there's 15 to 20 quarterbacks in the league worse than them, if not more. You know what I mean? Like, but they
Yeah,
get the
it's when
most
you
heat.
it's when you look at like let's move on to let's move on after this really quick, but when you look at Dak's contract now, it's not actually that bad. Like after watching Daniel Jones get paid, I do not feel bad about Dak Prescott's wage right now.
I have one thing before we move on, just a little word for my Vikings fans. I keep seeing in all the Vikings groups, we're getting rid of our best defensive players. We have no best defensive players. We were 31st in the league. Like, there is no best defensive players on that team right now. And to be honest, our best defensive players are our edge rushers. So if we keep them and we kept our core of the corners, and everybody who's wondering why Dantzler's gone, it's whatever happened last season where he didn't get playing time at the end of the year because something in the locker room happened. And so whatever that was got him out of town. It had nothing to do with his skill set. There's something about Dantzler that rubbed that coaching staff the wrong way. But Eric Kendricks, I love him, and he's probably going to be a Cowboy, and he'll fit your system perfectly.
Yep.
But he doesn't fit what we do anymore. He's not fast enough to fit what we do anymore. The guys that they let go, they had to let go. They had to. So I just wanted to say that to my Vikings fans out there who are upset.
Yeah, you just badly need to get younger and faster on the defensive side of the ball.
We got two young linebackers who can play and are fast. They may not be like superstars, but Brian Flores is the no-name linebacker defense. Nobody ever knows Brian Flores middle linebackers. Never.
Yeah.
But they play good. He just looks for solid guys as linebackers, not superstars, just solid, fast dudes at linebacker, and that's how it works. It's good. His whole defense is predicated on pressure and holding up on the back end. So we will make some corner moves. Don't worry. But Vikings fans, calm down. Our defense can only be better. But a lot of craziness, though. I mean, a lot of offensive linemen getting paid today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the most important move of the day is Jared Stidham going to the Broncos.
Yes, definitely. Oh, so here's it. Chiefs are moving on from Orlando Brown. They signed Jaguars offensive tackle Jawan Taylor, 4 years, $80 million, $60 million guaranteed.
Wow, where is that?
Ian Rappaport. I'm on Twitter with Ian Rappaport's. Bills have agreed to terms with Connor McGovern. I'm looking. There's so many. I'm just looking for the offensive lineman here. I had him pulled up, but shit just keeps coming through. Denver signed two offensive linemen.
Yeah, there's the two to Denver, yeah. Ben Powers and McGinley?
Yep. I just got to the Ben Powers.
McGlinchey? Yeah, that's it. Mike McGlinchey. Yeah.
Ravens,
Ben Powers and Mike
Calais
McGlinchey.
Campbell.
Wow. So the Broncos this morning have spent
all on the offensive line too. Smart.
Well, so Ben Powers is a 4-year, $52 million deal for $28.5 million guaranteed money. McGlinchey is a 5-year deal, $87.5 million with $5 million guaranteed, which seems like a big payout for somebody who missed 12 games last year. But for me, it looks like Sean Payton has decided that the offensive line were to blame for Russell Wilson's troubles.
And Sean Payton's a firm believer in protect your quarterback. That's why Drew Brees was not the shit on Brees. Brees is a Hall of Famer, but that's why Brees had so much success.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a small quarterback like that as well, like it's best to make sure they have plenty of time in the pocket, so you don't necessarily need to make the quickest reads and like that kind of thing. Definitely, you need to protect your quarterback. I think Russell Wilson could really do without getting the shit kicked out of him for a while.
Did you see that there is now? They didn't name the teams, but 7 teams interested in Baker Mayfield right now.
I like it.
Me too. The Bucs thought they were going to be the lone team, And other teams are like, whoa, 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 we want in on Baker.
I like it. I think like the Baker Mayfield is worth a punt, right? Like, what's Baker Mayfield going to really cost you right now if you're in certain positions? So, like, I think the
22
Cardinals
million.
should be
You
going
know
out and
where I
looking for
get that
Baker Mayfield.
number? He's worth 22 million. You know where I get that number? Jimmy Garoppolo just
Yeah.
signed for 22 million.
Yeah, 100%.
Baker's
Jimmy
got higher
Garoppolo,
upside.
yeah, Garoppolo probably has a higher floor. Baker has a higher upside. Do you think like a team like the Arizona Cardinals go in on Baker Mayfield to see what they can get there, or a team where and then just sit Kyler Murray all year? Because if I'm the Cardinals, I'm blowing shit up this year. I'm sending out Colt McCoy like this year, or just drafting somebody later on and seeing what happens with them. Like that kind of play is what I'm doing if I'm the Cardinals this year. But to add some respectability to it, to kind of show that you have a team like for free agents to go to next year, then maybe Baker Mayfield is not a bad play for you. And then sit Kyler Murray all year while he recovers, and then bring him back out. You have a lot of money dropped into quarterbacks then if you're doing that. The Panthers.
Von Bell to the Panthers. So
Von Bell
Bengals
to the
just lost
Panthers.
their safety. Yep.
Yeah, which means they're losing Bates the third as well. So that's both safety spots gone. I mean, they brought out Daxton Hill in the draft last year as well. So Daxton Hill is there for them also.
Patrick Peterson made it clear today if he doesn't re-sign with the Vikings, he wants to go to the Bengals or the Cowboys.
Fun. I'll take Patrick Peterson as our second cornerback. We need that badly. We need them so badly.
I'm sure right now, I'm sure he believes it, and right now he's using it as negotiation.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. What about Cam Sutton to the Lions on a 3-year deal, $33 million, $22.5 million in guaranteed? That's a nice
like
play
it
by
for
the
them.
Lions. Yeah, jack of all trades, above average, solid cornerback. Exactly what the Lions need at their cornerback position, right?
Yep. Hold on one second. But sorry, I had to let my kid in. The door was locked. But I like the Mike White signing too. I was kind of hoping the Vikings would pick him up as a backup.
Yeah, Mike White could be a fun. Like Mike White can lead to a lot of fun this year, I think. If Mike White comes out and plays well and Tua is injured again, which is how Mike White gets on the field, but if Tua is injured again, and Mike White made the Jets offense look decent, so Mike White was really good in the Jets offense. So what can he do with that Miami offense? Let's see. That could be a lot of fun. Offensive lineman Andrew Wiley from the Chiefs to the Commanders. Bieniemy bringing his own people over. That's what that looks like.
They just signed their D tackle to the highest contract in NFL history for a D tackle.
Yeah, I love. By the way, going back to the Jimmy G deal. Jimmy G is the best value QB pickup, especially when you match him up in that system as well. 3-year deal, $67.5 million. Did you know that Jimmy G, when he starts a football game, is 40 and for 17? He's 40 and 17 as a starter.
Stats like that. And I'd hate to see it happen because I really want the Vikings to get him. But if the Raiders can use that, I think they have the 51st pick in the second round on Hayden Hooker. That would be a fucking score.
Yeah,
behind
definitely.
Jimmy G for a year. Well, his ACL heals up completely and you let him learn behind him. And everybody can keep going. He's 25. He's 25. Okay. Quarterbacks play till they're fucking 36 to 38 now. Like, what are we talking about? Coaches only last an average of 4 to 5 years. So if you're a coach, do you really give a fuck if he plays 8, 10, 12 years at this point?
Mm-hmm. In his style of play as well, he'll last longer than most of our.
Yeah, because he only runs if he has to. He's another guy that's
Mm-hmm.
athletic, but he's a pocket quarterback. And And then I've heard some crazy people go, well, if you're going to take a 25-year-old, take Stetson Bennett. Can we stop with that?
Stetson Bennett is a great pickup around the 5th, 6th, and 7th round. Like, pick up Stetson Bennett around there. Like, that's where you want him. That's exactly where you want to pick up Stetson Bennett. That's insane.
I don't know why they think if you're on a national championship team or a great team in college, it means you're a great quarterback. That's not how college football works.
Yeah, Stetson Bennett wasn't even the best quarterback in the championship game. The guy from TCU is much better than Stetson Bennett. Much better.
And CJ Stroud played his ass off against Stetson Bennett.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, when you're at Alabama, that doesn't really count. But yeah, Jimmy G, really great fit for for Vegas. That works out really well for them, I think. Only issue is, I think he had the worst stats in the league for over 20 yards, for throws over 20 yards, which might frustrate Devontae Adams a little bit. But to be fair, when Aaron Rodgers was playing with Devontae Adams towards the end, it was just 5 to 10 yard routes the entire time. So we'll see how that ends up there. And then the final free agent thing, Javon Hargrave goes to the 49ers for 4 years, $84 million with $40 million in guarantees. Last year, he had 12 sacks and 66 QB pressures.
The rich get richer.
Yeah, that seems crazy to add that amount of money on the cap on the defensive side of the ball.
And they got to pay Bosa coming up here.
When that is all on the defensive line. And everybody's saying their defensive pass rush was weak last year. And it's their interior defensive pass rush, was a weak spot last year. And it's right, but you don't need a defensive interior pass rush. The 49ers, I don't know how they've done this.
Because the reason they can do it is they have a rookie quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah, I've written that down, actually. This is what you can do. This is what you can do when your QBs are on rookie deals. And as well as that, the starter that they're currently looking to go with, as long as his elbow heals up in terms of Brock Purdy, is a 7th round rookie QB quarterback deal, which is even cheaper.
But think about it. So between Purdy's and Trey Lance's salary, they got to be paying what, $6 million a year on quarterback? $8 million a year on quarterback.
Not even that.
You know what I mean? So they can do things that other teams can't do.
Yeah. So Brock Purdy in 2023 will earn a base salary of $87,000, $870,000, whilst carrying a cap hit of $889,000 with a dead cap value of $57,000. That is nothing. In the NFL, that is nothing.
Right. So then if you take that, I'm looking it up right now on Over the Cap. Trey Lance has base salary of $3.7 million with a $9 million cap hit. So you're around $10 million for two quarterbacks, which is nothing. There's backup quarterbacks who make $8-9 million a year in this league.
How much did you say that Trey Lance was earning?
$3.7 million, but he's a $9 million cap because of the bonus you get when you sign as a rookie. But so $10 million for two quarterbacks, less than. Some backups make $8 million in this league.
Yeah. If I'm the 49ers, I'm trading Trey Lance away.
I don't think they will, because I think they think they might have to start him.
Yeah, if they're worried about his elbow, obviously, then you do that. But why complicate things?
He can't even throw at best till July.
Yeah, I never understand though the idea of overcomplicating things in the quarterback room. But with just if you had an out and out backup in that 49ers offense, then you'd be fine. But I suppose Trey Lance, you can put
plus you gave up all those draft picks for him, and so they're going to do everything they can, like every NFL team, to see if he can be the starter.
Yeah, Trey Lance. Yeah, well, it's much better for Kyle Shanahan If Trey Lance is better, actually, you're right. It's much better. For those two sitting right there, they will never be more valuable than they are right now. Like the two, like one of them will become more valuable this year, and the other's value will fall through the floor. So what can you get for Trey Lance? There's a few teams out there where you think like, well, I wonder what you could do with
But
Trey
they
Lance.
don't
Like
have
the
to worry
Panthers.
about draft
Yeah.
picks. They just got 7 compensatory picks, and 3 of them are third-round picks from their coaches going to be coaches at other places.
Yep. That's just fucking crazy. Like the 49ers are in a crazy situation right now. They can just do whatever the fuck they
It's
want,
all
it
about their
seems.
cap for them. It has nothing to do with the compensation anymore, though. You know what I mean? They got so many draft picks.
What are they against the cap now? They must be close. But
I can tell you in 2 seconds.
It's gotta be close, surely.
49ers salary cap. All right. Of course, my phone's being slow. As of right now, they have 3.7 million in cap space.
3.7 million in cap space. All right.
I don't know if these new deals caught up yet, though, because as of this morning, the Vikings restructuring Hicks and did something else, didn't show up. So, like, over the cap still has the Vikings at 7 million over when they were they were less than 5 million over. And then you and I talked, we don't need to get into it today, but there's moves everybody can do. Like you restructure one guy and free up 12 million.
Yeah, exactly. Like you've got to be able to, they've got to have the ability to restructure a few people there because Nick Bosa's contract is here.
Though. Like I don't want to get deep into it, but I'm excited that Brian O'Neill, 12 million will free up if they restructure him. And then they're looking at over 70 million in cap room next year.
Right. What's Nick Bosa asking for is a massive question. Like it's got to be around like 23 mil.
30, right?
30 mil, yeah. Like you can go. It's got to be up there. It's got to be
27, 25, 27. He's got to be pushing on that 30 million mark. I think I heard somebody last year, one of the talking heads, say he'll come in around 30. Maybe that's where I'm getting that number from. But
yeah, TJ Watt gets 28 million.
Yeah.
Joey Bosa gets 27 million.
So right around 30 million?
Yeah, I mean, if you take his injuries into account, then probably around.
Yeah, but Nick's younger and better than Joey.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Nick has been more injury prone, so that's
everybody
what keeps
on the
him.
49ers is injury prone.
Yeah, is that the 49ers' fault? Yeah, actually, that's the reason that they've got to add just loads of fucking players, just because they don't know who's actually going to be there week on week. So you've got to just add loads and loads of players. It's not like the thing is with the 49ers, right? It's not like that. It's not that they haven't spent money on the offensive side of the ball either. Like Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, Trent Williams. Trent Williams is their biggest cap hit.
Yeah, and they just paid Deebo.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to Trent Williams.
Yeah.
Saying that Christian Darrisaw is the second best left tackle in the league behind him. Shout out.
Yeah, Christian Darrisaw is pretty fucking unbelievable. And I mean, you look at that 49ers team, it's scary. I don't want to come against them. No offensive line should want to play against them whatsoever.
No, this whole thing is pretty fucking crazy. It's just going to get crazier. But a lot of fans right now are going to go, what the fuck is my team doing? Why are we not doing anything? Let the first wave of free agency just pass you by. And then go in and get 25, 26-year-old free agents for a decent price who can help your team. There is a handful of guys in this class that are worth the money. They're going to get Tremaine Edmonds, going to get paid. Linebacker Buffalo, going to get fucking paid. He's going to get $20 million a year probably. He deserves it. But besides a few guys are going to get overpaid right now, and you don't want to be overpaying for a 28, 29, 30-year-old guy unless you're one player away.
Yeah, or you're desperate. If you have loads of cap space and you're desperate and that's in that place, then yeah, fine. But yeah,
you're not going to see a ton of moves from the teams who really believe they're contenders until after the big wave goes by.
Yeah, like in this second wave, just in this second wave from the Vikings, you could get Adam Thielen, like Delvin Tomlinson if he doesn't go.
He's going to resign. He moved back his free agency to give the Vikings more time, so he's going to resign. Well, there's got to be a good faith there because he wouldn't have agreed to push it back to the 15th when he could have started free agency today unless they were on the verge.
Yeah, in this second wave of free agency, but like just from the Vikings, you can get Adam Thielen, Eric Kendricks, Patrick Peterson if he doesn't manage to re-sign with the Vikings. You know, like that's just 3 players that you can get in the second wave.
Right. And
just from the Vikings.
And there's going to be a lot more like
DJ Chalk from the Lions.
Didn't you guys just lose your tight end?
Yeah, Dalton Schultz. You can take Dalton Schultz.
There's bad year to be a free agent tight end, though, because the draft is so deep.
Yeah, that's the reason that Dalton Schultz isn't a Cowboy anymore. Like, we're drafting a tight end. And we already have, like, Jake Ferguson and, like, the Cowboys losing. Everybody's like, oh, my God, it's all Dak's fault that we're losing Dalton Schultz. It's because of Dak's cap hit, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, why are we spending money on tight ends when we don't use him, like, overly anyway? And we have 2 of the best tight ends.
Because Dalton Schultz is good, but there's only a handful of tight ends you pay $10 million a year or more in this league, and it's Travis Kelce. It's why am I blanking on the dude in San
Mark
Francisco?
Andrews.
I love him.
George
Kittle, Andrews, maybe a TJ Hawkinson. Like, there's only a handful of guys that you pay that kind of money. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, like Dalton Schultz is a topper echelon wide receiver. Yes. Like, what Travis Kelce needs to do, Travis Kelce needed to do them a favor and go out and get his top weapon money. That's what he needed to do for tight ends, and he didn't do it. But yeah, he should have gone out and gone for top weapon money rather than top tight end money. But, you know, it's not happened. But yeah, and we have we had the best tight end room in the league. If you take out the fact that if you have Travis Kelce in your tight end room, you have the best tight end room, and Mark Andrews, you have the best tight end room. Like, in terms of collective tight ends, we had the best in the league with Jake Ferguson.
You guys, another guy, second wave, maybe even third, because he's injury prone but really talented. That's out there. Irv Smith Jr., the tight end.
Yeah,
super athletic and talented. He's just been riddled with injuries for 3 years in a row.
Yeah, exactly. And there's teams out there that you don't need to touch. You don't need to touch this first wave. So the Bengals, why would the Bengals touch anybody in the first wave of free agency? No point. Like,
unless you're paying an offense or defensive lineman that's going to change the life of your line, I'd stay away from those.
Yeah, there's not really anybody there's no blue chip free agents in this. Like, for me, there's not many blue chip free agents out there right now.
Center, I can't remember who it is that everybody's been touting to get super paid, but yeah, there's not a ton of and the guys who are blue chip, if you want to call OBJ blue chip, he's a free agent.
Yeah, exactly. He's injury prone
for a year and a half, though. He's been a free agent. You could have went and got him already if you wanted him. That's how I meant to say that. It's he's a blue chip, but he's been out there a year and a half.
Yeah, you don't need.
Did you find it weird the Cowboys didn't even show up to his workout?
To who? Sorry.
OBJ. The Cowboys didn't show up.
OBJ's. I think they're off. I think they're off OBJ. I think when he refused to work out for them, right? On his own when it was a thing. So it's oh well, you clearly don't want to be a Cowboy that much anyway. But I would have gone. You've got to go check it out.
He didn't work out because he was still injured. So I don't know if you can use that against him.
Oh, no. That's what Jerry Jones is using against him, not what.
Oh.
not what I'm using
while he's taking time from licking Mike McCarthy's ass?
Yeah, that's why he's. Yeah. You made me take time from licking my favorite coach's asshole. So I'm now punishing you. You don't get to wear the star on your helmet. Not a chance. No way. But yeah, they probably should have gone. You're right. They probably should have gone. I can't find this center that you're talking about.
Yeah, I forget who it was because they kept linking him to Minnesota.
Good for Connor McGovern going in the first wave of free agency, by the way. Yeah, good. good for Conor McGovern going in the first round of free agency. That's one of those guys where it's worth overpaying maybe the tiniest bit to get a guy in the second. Conor McGovern is a second round of free agency style player, but you pay the privilege to get him in the first round of free agency. You've probably only overspent by like $2 million in like that sense anyway. So that's not a bad pickup.
Unless it's a quarterback or you feel you're one piece away, do you not only overpay on the two lines, offensive, defense? That's how I feel.
Yeah. Rodney Hudson?
Might be. Like, I was just somebody they kept throwing out there in Minnesota, but they kept saying he's going to get 20 plus million a year. And I'm like, there's no way the Vikings are going to sign a center who wants 20 plus million a year.
Yeah, like this free agency. The free agents here are not like blue chip. The blue chip free agents are Lamar Jackson, who's franchise tag, Geno Smith, who's been signed, John Hargrave's now been signed, Jesse Bates, Jamal Dean, Levante David, who's I believe has been signed. I might be wrong on that. But then it goes into like Jacoby Myers, like Orlando Brown is now out there. That is a guy that's probably worth overpaying. But like,
and like some guys are older, like White, the linebacker from the Bucks. He's older, so do you really want to pay for that? I'm a firm believer, like, and I said this for a couple of years, but Rick Spielman didn't listen to me, so hopefully Kwesi does. Let's not start signing unless it's a 1-year deal. I'm cool with whatever you do on a 1-year deal. Let's not sign anybody over the age of 27, 28 to a long contract in free agency. Can we just not do that? Like, they just picked up Oliver, the tight end from Baltimore, 25 years old, gave him 3 years. Love that. Love it.
Yeah, really good move. Really
well,
good
25 in 3 years. That sounds great.
There's no merit in going crazy in free agency this year, really early on, which is why, again, the Bears, and I sound like a Bears fan with the amount that I talk about them, but they're just worth talking about right now because the biggest market in the NFL, so they're always in the news. They've got quarterback controversy. They've got the most cap space. They've got all of this. They've got the number 1 overall pick. Like, they're good to talk about because they're terrible. You don't want this amount of draft capital. You don't want this amount of free agency capital this year because everybody that you're going to go for is going to make you overpay. But there's nobody in here that's really worth overpaying that much for in the free agency.
I was going to say this
if you're the Bears, you don't want to overpay for Jesse Bates at safety. Like, what the fuck do the Bears need a safety for? You know what I mean?
Oh, that's the least of their problems at this point. Right. I get what you. So we're getting close to the end. I was going to say this and just end the show, but I'm sure you're going to want to respond, so I'll say it now. Josh Allen is Kirk Cousins and Dak Prescott, just so you know. Can't win in the playoffs. Doesn't have great stat, has good stats in the regular season. Can't win in the playoffs. Can't get his team over the hump, but he gets a pass every year.
Yeah, he gets a pass. Does Josh Allen get a pass due to the fact that he is he's a first round pick? Is that what it is? Is it the hate of 4th round picks?
And because he's huge and he runs.
Well, Dak Prescott used to run before he snapped his leg in half. Like, Dak Prescott was a mobile quarterback.
But
he isn't huge.
That's the thing.
If he stood next to us two, he'd look huge.
Right, but Josh Allen, huge human being.
Yeah.
Like, runs, has a rocket arm. He's a really good quarterback. I'm not shitting on him, but I'm convinced now he's not in my top 5 anymore.
Yeah, I think with Josh Allen, you get drawn in by the toolsy quarterback nature of him. Like, what he has in his armory. Like, what does Josh Allen have, right?
And everybody expected him to suck.
Yeah.
Because he had such a bad percentage coming out of college. And, yeah.
Well, it's the fact that he did suck. Like, for a little bit. Like, he did suck and then got a lot better thanks to Brian Daboll. For me, he's above Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins because of that upside that he has over the two of them.
I just meant tiers.
But not by a lot.
He is no longer tier 1 for me. He is in that 1B.
That little
1B
tier 2. Yeah. I think you're right in terms of top 5 though. Like Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow,
And as long as Aaron Rodgers plays this year, this is the caveat.
yeah.
There is only 4 quarterbacks in the NFL who have ever won starting quarterbacks who have ever won a Super Bowl.
Wow. That's pretty crazy. That's because Tom Brady's been in the league for so long.
It has a lot to do with it. It does have a lot to do with it. But think about that. If Aaron Rodgers plays, there's only 4 starting quarterbacks in the NFL who have a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah, definitely. I always do like the stat with. I always do like Aaron Rodgers' stats with Super Bowls though. So like Jared Goff has gone to the same amount of Super Bowls as Aaron Rodgers, but didn't win it, whereas Aaron Rodgers wins it. So that's the difference, isn't it? But you have you have like Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Aaron Rodgers, Trevor Lawrence. Do you know what? You probably stick Lamar Jackson in there, wouldn't you? Like if he's fit and playing, like he's better than Josh Allen.
And right now, I was going to say whoever earns their way into it this year.
Yeah, obviously Justin Fields as well, like in the top.
Yeah, I mean, but hey, you do got half of it right. There is a 5 at the end of that completion percentage.
If I could throw 60%, if I could throw 60% in the NFL, I'd be happy.
Well, yeah, but like, as soon as they measured my hands, I'm not even making the league. They're gonna be like, "All right, get out of here."
As soon as they measured our height and waists, we'd be screwed.
But they're like, you can't even fucking throw a Nerf ball. Get the fuck out of here. Like, yeah. I'm barely over 5'8", you guys. Like this, like so.
Yeah, I'm 5'9" and a quarter or something, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm like 5'8" and a half.
I'm close to Bryce.
I refuse to say half about anything.
Yeah, I'm close to Bryce Young. There you go. I'm not that far off. Only 3/4 of an inch off Bryce Young.
You're more athletic, but
Yeah. Well, I definitely weigh more.
Well, let's get up out of here, but we will come back with more draft coverage, team needs moving forward, division by division, and then right before the draft, we'll probably hit you with one of our mock drafts, and we can do it right on the screen, Maddie, with these little mock draft machines they have now on the internet.
Sounds fun. Sounds really good. Everybody go watch the roast of Jay and Aaron on OTH. Everybody go over to Overtime Hustling.
That turned into the roast of America. Maddie lit us up, guys. He was fucking hilarious. Maddie lit us up. Maddie, just a teaser. Maddie said that the U.S. is so young that R. Kelly's sliding up in the DMs.
That was a particular favorite. That was I enjoyed that one. That one took some time, to write, but that was good. Everybody go. I had a really good time. It was really enjoyable. The guys over there are a lot of fun. They support us, so go support them.
And Maddie hasn't been in talks, but we've been in talks to get Maddie to host Turf Tales with Freezus one night.
Awesome. Great.
It will be. It'd be hilarious. And Freezus is awesome. You'd have a great time.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Oh, sorry, Maddie.
I was saying let's do it. But yeah, go over and follow them. There's links to them all over our Facebooks and YouTubes and everything. So go follow them. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.